Cliff, nice to see you.
Good to see you,
again.
Terry.
Thank you. Well, one of the most controversial topics happens to be cannabis. And so I'm interested, not in your view, because the law is the law at this point. I'm interested in where are we going with the cannabis issue in terms of from a law enforcement and a prosecutorial aspect.
So you can't look at it, you can't look at cannabis just from a law enforcement aspect because, like you said, it's legal now. It's kind of a fact of life. I mean, there's certain aspects of it that can still be legal. It's still a misdemeanor if you grow too much or grow in the wrong place. Right now, it's incumbent upon the public leadership, and that'd be my office, the law enforcement agencies, our legislative bodies, our boards of supervisors, and our city councils, to make strong, common sense land use ordinances so the cannabis business people know where they fall with regulations, because we've got state regulations, and now we're going to have, somewhere down the road, the federal government jumping into it and muddying it up even more.
Right.
So nobody knows what to do. So, and all of our
that must make it even more difficult for you.
It's crazy, and but it's our board of supervisors is getting ready to launch. I hope. I mean, they're working hard to develop a ordinance. I know town council in Truckee are working hard towards it, and both of our other town councils in Nevada City is a little ahead of the game because they've already authorized a dispensary. So with all those things, and then as the prosecutor trying to enforce the law, how do I enforce those regulations? Because they're not violations of criminal law, but they can really detrimentally affect the citizens of our community that are going to follow the law, pay the taxes, do the registrations, do all the right things at a certain cost. Then there's got the other person who's not going to be such a good citizen and not do any of those things so they can make more money. Well, how do I protect that law-abiding cannabis, citizen as opposed to the lone one? So what we do is we fall back on other ways of holding them accountable. And business and profession code is one way. If you skirt the laws that are set up and the regulations that are set up, and you make money in an industry to the detriment of the people who are following the law, I can sue them civilly and extract from them civil penalties. And that's the only place we can hurt people in that business, because it's a big cash business, and a criminal misdemeanor, if I charge them with growing 7 plants instead of 6, isn't going to get me anything but a couple $100 fine and maybe a day in jail, if that. So that's the way we're looking at it. Then the other.
Does this worry you about where we are at this stage, or do you feel like we're where we need to be? Because January 1st has come and gone.
I think we're getting there. I think it's too slow for everybody's best interest, but I think in being slow and deliberative about the process, we'll have good, strong laws. We'll have a broad sector of the community. That's a good thing that they did with the CAG. It was clunky and hard to facilitate, but you can't say that we weren't inclusive in making these regulations.
Right.
So the board, when they come finally to their, what they're going to do as our elected officials, they're going to say we did everything we could to get everybody happy. And you'll never get everybody happy when you're working in government, as we well know.
And you're not going to get everyone happy in this cannabis issue either.
So, I'd like to see it happen sooner rather than later. The other thing I'm concerned about is the environmental degradation of the large grows that are going to be operating outside of the law and outside of the regulations. But I have strategies for those guys as well. The ones that do that, we can charge as felonies, and we can hit them with fish and wildlife violations. And again, the value of those types, I can charge them civilly for cleanup, for civil penalties. And the beauty of that is that money goes some back to me for enforcement, for further enforcement, some to our environmental health department for enforcement training and cleanup. So it's distributed back into the community. It's not going off to Sacramento or to the court system.